Hey, bada 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 bada, swing bada. Here I've got an old baseball mitt. It says Duane Josephson on it. As clear as I can tell, this is probably from the late 60s, early 70s. I want to take it apart and reuse the leather for this project. That requires taking out all the stitching, including some that looked like it had been replaced. The glove's basically constructed in two halves. There is the part that you slide your hand into, and then there's the inside of the mitt itself. In this part, I'm separating those two halves by going around the stitching on the edges. I have no idea what this is. Ew. Whatever this old mitt was packed with to protect your hand, that gets cut out and tossed in the trash. Now it's time to finish cutting the two halves of the glove into two pieces. And there you see it. I took the inside of the mitt, soaked it in a little bit of water, and then tried to press it flat. This is something that I did over the course of a couple days, employing a couple different strategies and re-wetting it each time. Finally, when it was in pretty good shape, I realized I needed to stretch it to get it as flat as it could be. I screwed it to this piece of wood, stretching it as I went, and left it to dry for another day or so, and it turned out really flat. Now it's time to make the pattern for the iPhone case. I used a piece of cereal box, put my phone in it, then began laying out the shape of the phone. And you can see it's a pretty good fit. My leather is dry now, and it's time to begin laying out that pattern on the catcher's mitt. This part right here, snap action, I want that to be the seam of the iPhone case. I put a couple layout lines on the leather and then laid my pattern square to those lines. That little emblem on the side of the catcher's mitt, I'm going to use that too. I laid out where I wanted this by making a circle slightly smaller than that Made in the USA emblem, because I'm using barge cement and I didn't want it to ooze out from underneath it. You apply this on both of the items that you're going to glue together. Let it set up first, and then press them together. Now here's the sewing awl. It's basically a needle that acts as a punch and that carries the thread, and then the handle that holds a bobbin of waxed cotton thread. You push it through, it's sharp enough to puncture the leather. You don't need to make holes ahead of time. You push it through and make your first hole, then pull out some extra thread. Make sure you leave yourself enough. Then you pull the awl back out and make another hole. When you begin to pull the awl out a second time, you'll see that thread, it begins to make a loop there. Take the end of the thread and push it through there, creating a knot. Now when you pull the awl out, you take those two pieces of thread and tighten them against each other. Let me show you again more close up, maybe I can explain it better. You push the thread through with the awl, then as you begin to pull it out, a loop forms. Take the end of the thread, pull it through that loop, pull the awl out, and then snug the two pieces of thread tight against each other. Keep going again and again with the same process till you get to the end and tie it off. Looks pretty good. Now it's time to close up the case. A little more barge cement all the way around the outside. You let it dry, and then you press the two sides together under some pressure and leave it to set up. Now I use the awl and a straight edge to give myself a guideline for my threads. This is a much longer stitching project, so I wanted to make sure that I had something to guide my threads and keep them straight. Same process. Push the awl through, leave yourself a loop of thread, feed the tail end of the thread through that loop, and pull them tight. This really didn't take as long as I thought it would. You think stitching by hand it's going to take forever. I think I had maybe 20 minutes or so in the stitching of the entire edge of this, and this is the first time I'd ever done this. Now let me show you a little bit more clearly how to tie off the knot at the end. Once you make your final stitch, you pull through some extra thread and cut it off. You should be left with a couple inches of thread both on the same side of your work. Then tie a double knot in that and trim off the ends. You're good to go. And the Catcher's Mitt iPhone case is complete. I'm really happy with how this turned out. You can see my edges are pretty clean, and surprisingly my stitches are pretty even and pretty straight. Even the little embellishment there, the Made in the USA symbol, looks like it's going to stay. Now, I may need to break this in to get a little bit better fit for my iPhone, but overall, looks pretty good. This project was really something new for me. Sure, I learned how to sew back in home ec class, but I'd never used a sewing awl. It really didn't take that much to learn. Just an idea and a little bit of information, and then you're on to something. If this is your first time here, take the time to subscribe. If you like this video, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching.